So for the third and final test, we're going to do 50 strokes through some hard, rocky soil. So what we have here is a section of old logging landing where the loggers brought in some 3-inch crushed rock laid in here pretty thick. I'm going to attempt the 50 strokes through this nasty stuff. This is typical of what a fire crew or trail crew would run into at a regular job. So 50 strokes, starting off with the FSS. What do we have here? 1, 2, 2.5 paces. What are we trying to achieve here? It's getting down to what we call mineral soil, removing all vegetation. That's all we're trying to accomplish here, typical for trails or fire line. So in 2.5 paces for 50 strokes with the FSS, I have a feeling that this might have an advantage in this type of condition because it is going to penetrate better having a smaller grubbing feature where the Rogue is much wider, but we'll see. We'll do the 50 right next to this one. 50 with the Rogue. So for the Rogue, 1, 2, 3, 3.5. One more pace in the 50 and that nasty rocky condition. I'm surprised by that. I thought that the wider grubbing feature would make it more difficult, but I did feel like because it's a sharper tool and the way it was ground and its extra weight was maybe a bit of an advantage. That is a surprise to me. So let's take a close-up look at how how the tools held up to this test. We can see there, right there, the cutting edge of the SVS Pulaski is some small, just little rolls, little dings, and that was from chopping through that log into the rocks and ground. It was full of rocks underneath there. No big deal, easily fileable. Don't see, pretty typical. As far as the grubbing end, where we did the most of the work, when we were in the rocks there, we can see right there, good. A little bit of a rolled edge, of course just normal wear, something that could easily be filed out. You can see these tools were both sharp and in tip-top condition before we started the test. So very good performance. No issues, no major failures whatsoever in this limited test. Let's look at the Rogue here. So what do we have here? Here is the grubbing edge. Much of the same right there. On the back side here we can see from our test a little bit more damage right there, or just a little bit more, kind of a rough edge, a little bit rolled over. And I would attribute that to being, it's much more of a taper. It's a finer edge on there. And again, we're always talking about trade-offs. If you want to use racing tires, yes, they grip better, but they wear out quicker. Same thing with this. If you want a hoe that's going to chop deeper and penetrate further, you're going to have to sharpen it more often. So if you do take a tool like this on the fire line, which is always recommended, you're going to want to have a file on it. So when you stop for a break, you're going to clean this up with the file. That goes for the case for both of them, but I would say you're going to do this a little bit more often. Is that an issue to you? That's a personal choice. It's up to you. Take a look at the axe head. You can see right here. No question, chop the same log in the same conditions. What I see here is I see less damage. Both sides, still a real good edge. Did the FSS hit more rocks than this? We don't know. It's not a super scientific test. It's just kind of a shade tree test. But one thing anybody who knows steel will notice, did you hear that beautiful ring, the ring of the steel as I was chopping and grubbing with this? That sound, many of you have commented on it. You hear that? You know what that tells you? That's proper steel. Nice, very good quality. So, damage, what I expected. Very good performance from both. Now for the hard question, the tough question. which one would I prefer, given the choice, if I had to choose one? Trying to be completely objective from my years of use with this and several weeks with the Rogue, which would I choose? Which one do I prefer? All I can tell you is this. I have both tools at my disposal. When I go into my shop and I go out and I look at the tools, what I'm going to take with me when I go for a walk just to survey the land or work on a little trail, I don't take this anymore. Not because I don't have a respect and an admiration for it. I do, very much so. But I don't take it anymore. I take the Rogue. Why is that? Why do I take the Rogue? For me, for grabbing one tool, it has more capabilities. It's just as good a chopper, a better chopper, as we saw. But what it gives me is the addition of having a hoe. And one of the best tools, one of the most versatile tools ever created by man is a garden hoe. The stories of the Okies, the men who didn't have families, who left and went west to work in California. There's stories about they were on their feet. They had to hitchhike and bum across the country. Most of them took one tool with them, knowing that they would have to work for their food. And that was a hoe. That's what they took. They took a hoe. So having a full-size hoe like this, in addition to the axe, with the performance that I have seen and what I've experienced, makes it pretty much a no-brainer. This is the tool that I would take on a fire line. If I had a choice, this would be what I would grab. Would I feel like I was undergunned or at a disadvantage with the FSS Pulaski? I wouldn't. Of course not. It's a fine tool as well. However, I just think you get more for what you carry, for the weight, for the ergonomics, and just the amount of work and the versatility of it, what you can do. As much as I'm surprised that I could ever admit this, I believe, it seems to me in my experience, that the Rogue Pulaski is a superior tool. And, you know, that remains to be seen. In 1911, I said that Pulaski was adopted, and so popular was it among the fire crews that the Forest Service, 2 years later, 1913, requested vendors to start manufacturing it, and they started putting it in the hands of Forest Service and firefighting personnel. And it's still, to this day, iconic in the Forest Service and forestry industry. But things might change, you know, things might change. This here is a wonderful tool. It's really amazing to me. You know, when I first started using Rogue tools, I got a couple, and they performed really well, and I thought, wow, it's hard to believe the performance. It's hard to believe that there's much difference between hoes. You know, yeah, maybe one's a little bit better than the other, or one has a better feeling handle, but it's just not the case. They really, really do work a lot better. They do a lot more work. And then I got this, you know, a couple more of their tools, and I thought, well, at first I really thought, well, they really got lucky. They hit on a design that was really good. But what continues to surprise me about Rogue is that everything that I get from them and everything that I put in my hand to use is just head and shoulders above what I'm used to. And work that I wouldn't have thought that I would have attempted, trail building without the use of heavy equipment, I find that I'm doing it. And the tool works with my body, it's ergonomic, it's a brilliant design. Whoever it is that is designing these tools, at least the limited cache that I have, the ones that I've been using, is really, really smart. And they really know about tools. They really build tools for the end user. They're not just building something to put out there and put a shiny coat of red paint on it so it sells. They're building tools, and they're putting tools in the hands of men and women that actually do real work and do it better. After so many tools from Rogue and such great performance from them, I no longer believe that they're stumbling upon some sort of a recipe by accident. I think there is thought, I think there is intention, and I think that there is genius behind whoever it is that is building these. So I hope that, as Gordon Liddy likes to say, dispels all of the Bravo Sierra out there, and this is by no means a scientific test, but just a data point and just my experience. And I use these tools. They're in my hands three or four times a day or a week, and it is what it is. I'm a fan. Well, I hope you enjoyed the series. It's always fun to make those. I, like many of you guys, really enjoy a handmade, well-made tool. So Yes, so I've got a couple videos for you that I want to share. First, over here on the top is one of my favorites. One of the all-time favorites on the channel. It's where Jack and I made his first belt together. And so I think you'll enjoy that. If you're a new subscriber and you haven't seen that, it's worth clicking on. Those of you guys who are mobile users, I'll put the links also in the subject heading so you can enjoy those as well. The second is a series of timber framing that you might enjoy as well. Working with the old tools and doing things the old way. Homesteading, modern homesteading is what I've coined the channel, and that's what the channel is all about. So I'll put those there for your viewing pleasure. So a lot of things coming up, a lot of different tools and different things I want to share with you, and whatever strikes my fancy. Yeah, that's a little nod to you subscribers in the UK. I fancy the UK. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up if I haven't asked already. Comment. I really appreciate that. It motivates me and means a lot to me. So I try to read all of them. So we'll see you guys on the next video.